Okay, so last session, you all had set out from the ruins of Elturel, what was now just a crater in the ground. You watched it pull down into the first layer of the Nine Hells, chains of infernal iron erupting from the ground, crashing into the city, and then dragging it below. From the ruins of that city, and from what was left of that city, and now crater, you all made your way for Baldur's Gate, traveling with haste westward along the Chianthar River, trying to reach Baldur's Gate before the massive flow of refugees that was sure to follow you. On the way, you found out that the Fields of the Dead were rather active, that the legions of soldiers who had died there over the many, many decades and centuries of that area's history were now rising once again in greater number than ever before and plaguing the countryside. You found one abandoned community after another on your way westward towards Baldur's Gate. The place is seemingly abandoned. Hearing what had happened to Elturel and fearing that it would begin to happen in other places. So these people abandoned their homes and began fleeing, most of them westward in the direction that you were headed. You met an old man who was there, kind of looking over the homes and the houses of the area, doing his best to keep an eye on the property of his neighbors. He was able to tell you more about the strange occurrences in the area. Following this, while you were camping, these dangers made themselves apparent to you. They began almost reenacting the circumstances of their death in attacking those people that they could find along the Chianthar. You were able to deal with these skeletal warriors and then continue along your way to Baldur's Gate. When you arrived at the city, you did discover it to be in quite a bit of turmoil already. Many refugees having arrived before you could get there, and others still yet trying to get their way out of the city. The Flaming Fist had closed entrance and exit from the city, and were dealing with the crisis as best they could, though they were short-handed, and leaderless, with Ulder Ravengard, to their knowledge, missing. One of the captains of the Flaming Fist, one Darnan Zaj, approached you all, recognizing a couple of you as those who had left with Ulder, questioned you about the whereabouts of his Grand Duke, and upon hearing that he was likely in the city when it fell, essentially established himself as the likely candidate to be in charge, especially since there was no higher-ups. He gave you all some information and sent you in search of a spy named Tarina, who could possibly be of assistance in locating the bathhouse that you all had found a letter pertaining to. So you went to the Elfsong Tavern to try and find this spy named Tarina. When you arrived, the air was filled with a strange song. Those of you that were familiar with the tavern knew that the Elfsong Tavern got its name from a spectral woman who would sing songs every so often. But this one was different. It filled the area with a sense of disquiet and with dread, and the lyrics were directly pertaining to Elturel and its new, unfortunate circumstances. Singing of cloven feet, and infernal fires, and hell riders riding against the bloody fray. When the song ended, you were at first accused of somehow causing this strange and haunting occurrence, but soon after, the atmosphere cleared, and even the bartender apologized for having accused you so harshly. You then went upstairs and went about a game or two of Baldur's Bones, the local dice game, while you waited for Tarina, playing a game or two with her when she got there. Not long after she arrived, and just before she was able to relay the information she had to you, some friends of hers arrived downstairs, crashing in through the front door, causing all kinds of problems, and calling out for Tarina, clearly in search of her head. Tarina agreed to help you all if you would help her, and you all did so in a rather spectacular fashion, I must say. The patrons of the Elfsong and the proprietors are not soon to forget the spectacle that they witnessed that day. And it is in the aftermath of that spectacle, the patrons looking on in awe and not a small amount of terror at what you just unleashed in their bar. And that is where we will go ahead and pick up today. So, you all are still at the Elf Song Tavern in Baldur's Gate. I'm going to drop you onto the city map right now.
And all of the all of the crew members are dead now, right?
Yes, and they are, in fact, not a single one escaped that day. And yes, not long after the fray ends, the bard picks up their flute and continues playing. People continue their chatter. It took a moment for things to go back to normal here, but then again, this is the City of Blood, and things like this never stick in the memory for too long. The massive
Well,
ogre bouncer begins dragging bodies out onto the street.
yeah, well, it's still in her badger form. Anna will pick some of them up with like her teeth or like her maw, and then just start dragging them out with the ogre.
Skooma looks down and says, "Thank you, Badger," and just drags stuff out.
And
So
while doing that, I'll clean all the blood off the place using prestidigitation. So there's no more
Skraldar
blood
got one of
anywhere.
those like smile frowns where he's like approval, but it looks like a big old scowl, and he's nodding his head.
It looks shinier than it did before.
Is gonna be helping, but also kind of like as he's helping drag out the bodies, he's gonna be studying the faces,
Okay.
particularly the one of the captain. Do we know what the captain's name was?
So Tarina would be coming down the stairs still like her arms crossed and her eyes wide, like nodding her approval. And she looks down at you, invests at you, looking at the guy, and she says, "That one was Deadeye, appropriately named, huh?" And you can see one of his eyes is just like shriveled in black.
Deadeye.
She nods and says, "Formerly Captain Deadeye."
Not a very good strong captain, I'll say.
To be fair, you are not the average opponent of a ruffian such as him. He's done his fair share of murdering and killing.
True. She kicks his face.
Jeez.
the badger goes over to the captain, like kind of grabs the hat with her mouth, and then flips it and tries to get it on her head.
Nice. Okay. Bandana comes off relatively easily. It's got a little bit of blood on it. Nothing too bad, though.
Oh, I thought he was wearing like a pirate hat.
Here, I'll clean it for you.
Badger with the pirate hat. That is a visual.
Oh, Tarina, we took care of this lot.
So she nods and she kneels down next to Deadeye, starts going through his pockets and stuff, and looks up towards you all and kicks up a ruby that was embedded on his one of the earrings that was hanging down from him. She says, "Don't want to let all this go to waste, do we?" He is like bedecked in finery, as is appropriate for a captain.
Does he have anything else valuable on him?
He does.
Loot the bodies.
Yep.
There's just like stuff scattered all around the floor of where he died. because
Right? He just
all
like
the clothes were torn off.
he just exploded into a bunch of coins and jewelry. But on the body, you do find 22 gold pieces, 15 silver pieces. Tarina would be handing these all over to you as she goes. Unless is anyone actively patting him down and searching him as well as along with Tarina?
Sure.
Okay.
Even though I suck at it.
Make a perception check.
Got it.
Luckily, Tarina only rolled an 8 on her sleight of hand. She pocketed about half that money.
Ooh.
Oh. I'll just kind of like turn to her and be like, "Darling, look, we're in the type of neighborhood. I understand how it works, but at the same time, we did, take care of them ourselves.
She sighs, knowing that she did not do a very good job at hiding, and she's like, fair enough, and she hands over the other half. So that was 44 gold pieces and 30 silver.
Good.
He also has 2 gold necklaces.
Okay.
Those are worth 25 each, 25 gold. He has a black gold ring with a white pearl set into it. That one is rather valuable at 125 gold. Now, there were 7 pirates. So, an accumulated 24 silver among them.
And it doesn't take any of the silver. Like it.
Okay, so I'm just trying to write stuff down in the replay right now. So it was 2 necklaces worth 25.
Sure.
Then it was what for over 100?
It is a black gold ring with a pearl set into it.
Is it magical?
Do you use a detect magic or
I
anything
do not
along
have
those
the spell.
lines?
Does anyone do you have the spell?
Ritual casting?
I'm the only one that can do that, and
It's like a staple spell to have.
the only ritual I have is speak with animals at the moment.
Damn. We need someone with detect magic.
We can she'll turn back into a person, and say that like, if we rest a bit, we could probably try and investigate it over the course of mayhaps an hour.
It's almost like that's a mechanic in the game.
How much was the necklace?
The necklaces, there are 2 of them, each worth 25 gold pieces.
Oh wait, sorry, the ring. I meant the ring.
Oh, the ring. The ring's worth 125.
It's a nice ring. I'm gonna see if it fits my finger nicely.
So Carl's already messaging me. It looks like he is planning to play either a wizard or a warlock. I mean, a wizard or a paladin, if anyone's interested at all.
Wizard for sure would be what I prefer.
Really? We have so much arcane already.
But I'm going to be a paladin, that's why.
Oh yeah, okay.
Hexadin. Such a great build. Okay. So, it's important to note that while you were just like rummaging through the bodies, not a single person made eye contact with any of you. Everyone was just like, finding their own.
You know what? I'm gonna take one of the gold pieces that I just got, and I'm gonna put it on the counter and be like, rounds on me for everyone. Sorry for the disturbance.
Squirreldar nods. It's like, ha! Gives you a bit of an affirmative, and then, yeah. After a couple minutes, everyone is like, nods at you all and raises their glasses as you pass.
Anna's gonna contemplate it for a while, and then eventually she's gonna go over to Althea and reluctantly ask to have the blood cleaned off, because she knows it's gonna clean everything else as well.
Althea will oblige.
She feels disgusted, but she goes off to have a drink.
Okay. Alright, so Tarina would approach you all. After all the looting and all of that was done, and she would say, well, I do believe I owe you all some information.
Yes, you do.
Well, several blocks northwest of here is a public bathhouse with a walled garden and frolicking nymphs on its front gates, much like the ones you mentioned. I know for a fact that followers of the Dead Three have been seen coming and going from the bathhouse. I'm told there is a secret door inside that leads to a complex built into the sewers below. that is where you will find your killers. She gives you all detailed directions on how to get to that spot. It's up there, just east of the wall.
Animal nod in thanks, and then keep drinking. She has no intention of moving for at least another 40 minutes. She needs to rest.
Right.
The intel you can give us about that house.
Okay. So, it is late in the evening at this point, probably 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. And with that, you all can level up to 3.
Oh shit!
Hey.
Okay.
And I will leave it up to you all. When we do early session or mid session level ups like this, usually I will let you know whether or not this will be a full recharge of all of your class abilities and everything, all of your health, basically getting a long rest at the end of your level up. Usually I'll tell you one way or another, but today I will say that you can take the choice. You can either head out in the morning and take your long rest, or you can, if you do decide that you want to visit the bathhouse this evening, you all can take your benefits of the long rest with your level up.
I think we should try and find.
Yeah, we'll long rest probably.
Yeah, a place to sleep.
Okay.
Also, the benefit of having all heavy, short resting classes is that no one refuses the rest.
Yep.
That's what I mean, though. If you would prefer and you'd like to head out this evening instead of in the morning, your level up will include the benefits of a long rest.
Mhm.
So it is your choice.
Yeah. I want more spells, so I'm gonna. I'll try and find a place. Or does the tavern? The tavern has places to sleep, right?
It does.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Then we'll sleep here.
And after an hour of hanging out with that ring, you do discover that it is in fact non-magical. So,
Althea? I don't know if she reacted then or not.
Althea, did you catch that the ring is not magical?
Yeah, I did. Sorry,
Okay.
I was distracted.
No worries. So, what's everybody doing with their level up?
Getting
Got
my
some
third
choices to
final
make.
level in Warlock.
Oh yeah, y'all get another subclass, right? And the fighter gets an actual subclass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I go Pact of the Chain.
Oh, loved Pact of the Chain. Such a great one.
And you remember how I told you you can choose my patron? Because I don't know who my patron is yet, technically.
Yep.
Is there am I sticking to the regular Find Familiars, or is there a specific
You're going
like
Pact of the
patron
Chain, right?
specific? Yeah.
Let's say that an imp would be fitting, but I do understand if you would rather go with the Quasit.
No, I'll go with him.
It's probably the best one.
Familiar should be the patron.
Yeah.
I don't get how these like the spells work in like the leveling up thing, because it won't let me click on the ones I want to add. Only like because there's a bunch of them that I just like don't feel like looking up the whole time. But
Let's see.
I'm having trouble deciding whether I want to keep Agonizing Blast or if I want to keep Fiendish Figure right now.
agonizing will be more DPS, especially when you get another blast. But at the moment,
Mm-hmm. True, yeah, and that's very true. But at the same time, if I'm gonna be mostly on the front lines, the Fiendish Figure extra HP is always nice too.
Okay.
But I feel like I'm losing too much though. So if I don't take Agonizing Blast.
So as a prepared caster, Anacola, Roll20 is a bit weird with it. What I like to do, what I like to do is, this is a bit time consuming, but I just like to drag the entirety of the spell list in to my character sheet out of the compendium, and then I use those little red dots to show which ones I have prepared.
Yeah, I know how that works. I was just saying the leveling up thing because I'm prepared.
Right, the leveling up just says you have way too many spells already, so you get no more. is the way it's reading it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so if you want to be able to use the Charactermancer for your spells, think of it as these are the spells that I have prepared right now. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I know. Yeah,
Okay,
I saw
okay.
that.
Kroll, what fighter subclass are you taking?
I took the Battle Master one.
Nice, always a solid choice.
Classic for a reason.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
What maneuvers are you picking?
I'm definitely doing riposte and probably trip attack. And then I think I'm going to do brace as well.
More of a defensive build.
Yeah, I think that I'm going to be more on the front lines, and I need to like try to be more of a defender for everybody.
Right.
I finally got the ability that the reason I picked this subclass. This spell. It's so asinine and a dumb utility one, but I love it so much. It can be so fun.
Actually a pretty strong spell, especially for early levels.
Yeah, I like. It's weird because it like mentions part of the material is like coins, I think, but it's not gold piece.
Copper
It's not
pieces,
a gold
yeah.
price. It's copper price, so I can still use my oh, fuck, what is it called? My druidic focus.
Yeah, I've actually had several campaigns where somebody having access to Gentle Repose actually saved someone. Especially in big cities like this where you have access to temples and things like that, but like if somebody goes down in the middle of a dungeon, like how are you going to get them to a healer in, what is it, like 1 minute for the baseline healing, the baseline resurrection spells?
Revivify, but you need the whole body. And that's why I really like the druid version of Raise Dead, which is Reincarnate. I only need like a finger and I can like bring someone back, which is very convenient. Arguably, even like nail clippings or hair would be enough to bring them back.
Right. Okay, so as soon as everyone is done with their level up, we can assume that you all take your long rest here at the Elf Song Tavern. And from there, y'all can head out. But the price of room and board here today is 5 silver apiece.
Okay.
And we'll just give them 2 gold.
Okay. That covers all of you.
Also, 5 more.
Thank you.
What was that, Anna?
5 more for Ghost.
Oh, nice. Ghost is just chilling over in a corner eating a bowl of mutton that that Skraldar left out for him.
Yeah, after Kaio like ran away without without him, she just like carried him around inside the tavern, not really caring what not anyone like would approach her aggressively about her having a dog, but if they did, she'd just like kind of smile at them and not blink.
Yeah. Luckily, definitely not the kind of establishment that would scoff at someone bringing a dog in. I mean, didn't even seem that surprised by a badger tearing through someone's chest. They actually did, though. So as soon as you're done with your level up, just go ahead and drop a ready in the chat so we know that you're done with your level. Just had to kick the cat out of my office. Very rarely does it happen, but she was very adamant about trying to chew on my mouse cable while it's charging right now. That is unfortunately an instant ejection from the room. Alright. Althea, what do you get at level 3?
I got my packed weapon now.
Nice.
Oh my god, you're going blade lock? I was so surprised. I also get another favorite spell of mine, Pass Without Trace.
Pass Without Trace is so good.
So I now have +6 on my attacks. Woohoo! So just +5. There's no macro for that, so I'll just have to add it in myself.
I made so many like custom things for like when I'm in different wild shapes. Like I have this one, which is just quarterstaff +1, which means I'm wild shaped when I'm using quarterstaff.
Can I get a little imp?
Oh, you got it. Give you that familiar variant.
Another favorite spell, Skywrite, super useful. Those
It's a great spell.
are
So,
instant fact.
Trust, we talked a bit about your patron and all of that kind of stuff. The patron that you asked me about earlier, I don't want to give away too much because we can work that in narrative-wise later, but the patron that you asked me about earlier, I have looked into it, and you are good to go with that patron.
So you don't know the patron. I don't think we've talked about a patron.
Oh, really? Oh my god, do I have 2 players that were talking about a Warlock patron?
Yeah, it's a Celestial Warlock.
Okay. Alright, I actually need to put a little bit more thought into that then. I have a good idea for you, but I'm sorry, I was thinking about a different player. So, you are good to take... I would honestly say in that case you might want to take the Closet, since it is, I want to put into quotations, the best Pact of the Chain familiar.
Yeah, I mean, I
I
kind of left the choice of the patron to you, since I actually didn't want my character or myself to know who that patron was. That's
Okay.
part of that. So I'm trying to figure it out.
You got it. Yeah,
Right.
I'm so sorry about that. I actually do have another player in my other Descent into Avernus game who's asking very similar questions. I got you guys confused.
Good.
Okay,
You can
so
always swap them out if you want to get a different one.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to whatever fits in the narrative. I will leave that to you as a DM.
Okay. All right. So it will be a celestial creature for sure, as you are a celestial warlock. But we'll say that can take any of the 4 Pact of the Chain forms that you'd like. The pseudo dragon is probably a good baseline, but the imp, Quasit, or sprite would work as well. So whichever one fits for your current situation the best, you can just drag them on out. I'll go ahead and give you access to all 4 of them.
Pseudo dragons are adorable.
They really are.
They are adorable. Yeah. I mean, technically, find familiar. They can take any shape they want, right?
Right. Just with the Pact of the Chain, you get those 4 special ones.
How do you add a global modifier?
So open up your character sheet.
I forget how to do
The gear on the far right next to core bio and spells, and then it is. I always forget where where it's at on here. Okay, so on the right-hand side, the far right column, you're going to see a bunch of check marks for global modifiers. You're going to want to check whichever one of those is applicable, and then you go back to your core, and you have a new box there to use.
So it's for hex damage.
Okay, so you do global damage
Um,
modifier.
Okay.
And then once you're over there, you'll see it below your attacks and spellcasting.
There it is.
And
Yeah, I have this one.
you can add that in there.
Perfect.
And then whenever you have something hex, just check the box and you're good to go.
Oh, I just wanted to check. I forget if we confirm this, but Tressum are valid familiars, right?
Just some are valid familiars.
Yeah.
They're great, especially with the sea invisibility ability. That's really good.
I often forget about that. They're like little detect poison and diseases.
Right. And then, oh man, I really need to figure out some ways to separate these two games because my other Sunday game, also has somebody who is using a Tressum as a familiar. Lots of crossovers.
In fairness, my familiar can like change moment to moment,
Nice.
almost.
Oh, I didn't do it right. Doggone it.
Having issues with the global?
No, I just realized I still have Founder's Figure instead of Agonizing Blast.
Okay.
Just have to change that real quick.
Did you take a different one? Since you have two.
Yeah. Yeah, I took the Brood Pact weapon as well. Just get rid of that.
Improved
Oh
pack
yeah, the
weapon.
pack weapon. Yep.
I mean, it's really good for me, so.
Yeah.
I was building a warlock in another game, and I realized that like blade locks don't just get charisma modifier to damage, and you have to be like a hexblade to do that. I thought that was very unfortunate and weird. It was like the one drive for me making that character a hexblade, because I didn't want to be mad.
I no longer have to drop my weapon to cast spells now.
That's cool.
My weapon is now my spell focus.
Okay. Is everybody done with their level up?
Mostly just preparing spells now.
Okay, cool. So, you all said that you wanted to wait until the following morning to head out? Is that accurate?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. So sometime during the evening, Tarina would have slipped out. Not said bye or anything, just as spies do, nonchalantly left the building. The following morning, the streets do begin to come to life a little bit. There are a decent amount of people out, but you can see them all looking around very suspiciously. Even vendors kind of giving vendors to either side of them wary looks. Tell that there is a general atmosphere of distrust in the city at the moment. So, the following morning, after your melee with the pirates at the Elf Song Tavern, what would you all like to do? Probably about 8 o'clock in the morning right now. 8 or 9, thereabouts.
Anna's gonna go give Ghost a walk.
Nice.
We'll arrive back at like 9 or like 8:30.
I'll talk with some of the locals to see if I can get any more leads before we head out on our quest to this bathhouse.
So, what kind of questions are you asking?
Let's see. So we're looking for. Remind me what it is exactly that we're looking for. this quest? I have bad at memory.
Oh, no worries at all. So the main thing that you're looking into right now is the Dead 3 cultists, trying to figure out what
Right.
exactly they're up to. And on a tertiary for that one, their connections with the Van Thampers. You know that the Van Thampers are involved somehow, but you do not know just how deeply and the exact nature of their involvement. But the Van Thamper, again, are the patriarch family that had a very sudden rise to power.
So I'd probably be asking around about the Dead 3 or anyone who might be related to them, and also watching their reactions or how they react when they're talked to about it.
So the very first thing that you would notice in every person that you asked is as soon as you bring up the Dead 3, they immediately get frightened, clam up, and do not want to speak to you about it.
Cool. That's the reaction of someone who's not doing something bad.
You can, of course, try to
I
get more
will-
information out of them if you'd like to make a persuasion check or any sort of charisma check.
I would like to make a persuasion check with advantage by sliding 2 silver to one of the people who I think might know something.
So just one of the people sitting down having breakfast at the Elf Song, questioning them about the Dead 3. What specifically are you asking them about? Are you just asking general information?
Have you heard of any strange happenings in the city with the Dead 3, or perhaps any cultists that might be lurking?
Okay. Go ahead and make a persuasion check at advantage. Okay. So you can see that the person is kind of down on their luck. They obviously don't have very many coins to rub together, so they put their hand over the coin and then lean in real close and whisper and say, "You didn't hear anything from me, but I hear the Dead 3 are just out killing people at random. A couple of the watch, I heard him talking about it, and they captured one of them and questioned him for days, and all they got was that they're just doing it for the sake of causing chaos in the town, almost like they're just trying to stir the pot. That and the fact that the Cult of the Dragon is hunting them down, trying to find their house, trying to find their base of operations too. But that's really all I know." And again, he pulls the hand with the coins over to himself. "Didn't hear a single thing from me."
While all this is happening, Kroll is just going to set out front of the tavern, just sharpening his axe, just getting ready for the day.
Okay.
So she'll say, "Heard what?" as she stands up and gives him a wink.
Alright, goes back to his breakfast.
So he's gonna come downstairs and he's having a conversation with something, but it's like something. He's basically having a conversation with his hood, but
Nice.
no one realizes there's a little sprite that's kind of hidden in his hood.
Nice.
While out on her walk, could Anna see if she could find any potential buyers for 2 golden necklaces?
Absolutely. So there are plenty of small little general store type of vendors out and about here, and you would have passed at least 1 or 2 of them on your walk. So if you would like to make just a general charisma check to see if you can get full price back for them.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I'll use the
Okay.
thing.
So with a 20, for each gold necklace, you would be able to get 30 GP each back for them.
Ooh, okay, nice. That's 60 then. Could she couldn't happen to find, or I guess she doesn't have the ring. Never mind. Yep. She'll bid the the buyer adieu, and then heading back to the tavern with Skull in tow.
Okay.
I keep saying Skull, Ghost.
All right.
Right, I did loot.
Gotcha.
So do you come back to meet up with us so we can head out?
Yeah, I head back to the tavern with Ghost in tow.
Okay.
That's 15 each, by the way.
Yep. Yep.
You
Sure.
go?
We can just divvy that right now.
Okay.
All right. So, Anna, as you're coming back in, Skuna, the huge half ogre, has taken quite a liking to Ghost. See them kind of get real low, and even though they're like completely hunched down and like crouching to say hello to Ghost as they come in, they still stand like over 6 feet tall. But hearing cooing sounds and coming from such a huge thing is definitely a sight to see.
She thinks he's like, you know, kind of cute, but also like kind of wary of him crushing Ghost. She'll just like awkwardly smile and wait for him to. Or how does Ghost feel about it?
Ghost doesn't seem to mind. Skuna's intentions are wholly pure, and Ghost can pick up on that. So Ghost seems to not mind in the slightest and enjoying the pats.
All right. Then yeah, she'll be a bit more at ease then. And then just wait for him to ramp up before distributing some of the gold she'd gotten to the group.
Okay. So as soon as Skuna notices that people are kind of looking at them, they stand up, get real squinty and cross their arms in front of their chest and just glower at the entire bar.
I love that.
Right then. It seems we have a bathhouse to investigate. Is everyone ready? Does anyone else need anything before we go?
Before we do go, there's shops. This is a big city. Do they sell like any like healing potions and stuff? It'd be nice to kind of like stock up if they have any.
So, there would be a shop or two around. So they are relatively in low supply in this general area. How many of you are from Baldur's Gate specifically?
How high is the nobility go in Baldur's Gate?
Sorry?
How high is the nobility in Baldur's Gate? Because I probably would be living in one of the bigger cities, but I never really decided which one. I wasn't sure if I was going to do Elturel or Baldur's Gate. Which one would be more like noble-ish?
Noble-ish would definitely be Elturel for nobility. Baldur's Gate is kind of like the seedy nobility. Like think like very like the first thing that comes to mind is those like grimy steampunk-esque streets where there are the fancy hoity-toity people, but even they have a little bit of a grime to them.
Okay, I think I'd definitely be from Baldur's Gate then.
Okay. Right.
Based on my character.
So
Anna has never been in a city before in her entire life. She's like many hundreds of years old. This is a very new sight for her.
So, Althea, you would know that Baldur's Gate has a very strict regulation on the sale of magic items, potions, basically anything that involves any sort of magic. And the reason for that is because the sale of that kind of material is basically exclusively run by the patriarch families and the criminal underground. So, you would have heard of a place called the Underwide. The wide is, of course, just a massive open-air market in the upper city, in that general area. The underwide is literally in the sewers beneath the wide. It is essentially the black market area, and where you would go if you were looking for any sort of magical items for a fair price, at least, and that sort of thing. But you would also know that prices are exorbitant there, as in very, very,
You better,
yeah. But as far
better
as
know your
just
stuff.
what's that?
You better know your stuff if you want to haggle it for
Right.
the price that you want.
Right. But as far as just general healing potions and things like that go, you should be able to find them just at a couple of the vendors outside of the wide, but they would, of course, be marked up pretty high. So you'd be looking at about 100 GP per potion.
Okay, yeah, that's not happening. All right.
If you really want some healing potions, the best place to go would be in the black market of the city.
Should we go there, or do you guys just want to head to the bathhouse? I mean,
Well, we already have a few healing potions, 3 to be exact right now, so I think we'll be okay.
let's just go. That's fine.
Anna will
Should
just
be
kind
fine.
of remind that she does, despite her visit, she can heal people.
And of course, when you guys have more money, the wide and underwide would be a very interesting destination for you all.
Mhm.
Not me just frantically scrambling for my notebook that has the whole underwide written in it, because I was not expecting you all to be inquiring about that just yet.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. You're good. Honestly, I don't know why I didn't have that notebook out yet. Like, I have so many homebrew notes for that whole section. I just honestly hadn't thought about it yet.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I just remembered. Could Anna just buy an alchemist kit?
An alchemist
in
kit?
passing? Yeah, is that on sale or is that too magic?
I don't feel like an alchemist kit would qualify as an actual magic item, so that should be accessible to you. Do you have a price on that from the PHB while I'm looking for it?
I think it's 50.
Okay.
Ooh. Do you have proficiency in it?
I do. I am a wit.
Oh, you can just make potions.
That's pretty cool.
That's even better, because then we just have to buy the components for it, and she can just make it with a bit of downtime.
Yeah. Well, no, that's you're thinking herbalism.
Oh, that's right. Never mind. Yeah.
I also have that one. As part of being a druid.
Well, so you can do it. There you go.
Yeah, I can make them, but the alchemist kit I can make other stuff like vials of acid.
Yeah.
What did DMs do before the internet? Like, I can literally, like, every question I've ever asked has just been there.
Yeah, Reddit specifically.
Back in my day.
Back in my
I had to go
day.
through the books.
Yeah, alchemist kit is 50 GP.
Alright, yep.
Could I see
What
if-
about the? Sorry.
I was just gonna say, could I see if I could try and haggle down the price a little bit?
Absolutely, go ahead and make a charisma persuasion check.
Okay. I'm actually going to.
Can I assist them since I'd be there with them?
I was going to ask if I could try and intimidate the keep.
Sure. That does make the DC a bit higher, but yes, you can try intimidation.
Ugh, okay. Yeah, without the other, I imagine it'd also be easier to do that.
There you go, indeed.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Oh my.
So, the shopkeep, a very large half orc, is just looking at you, and they gave you the original price of 50. They lean in close. 53.
She'll throw a pouch of 50 gold on the table, grab the alchemist kit, and then run away.
Oh.
out there. So you see that happen, and the half orc is just looking at you. Looking at Nicola's back, looks back at you, and just makes like the shoe gesture.
I'll just be like, I don't know her. Just walk away.
So what about a healer's kit? Can I buy a healer's kit?
Yes, a healer's kit would definitely be within the wheelhouse of something that you could get. Let me check cost on that real quick.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Standard price is 5 gold.
Okay. Seems fair. All right.
Well, wandering through the market with Althea, at least a little bit nearby, Anna's going to try and see if there's any anyone kind of similar to that person that she met in the bar, like anyone selling any kind of like druidic items, such as a herbalism kit.
Althea will not be helping her this time. Don't want to ruin her reputation.
Okay. Herbalism.
It's 5 GP.
Yeah. Yep. Pretty much the same place that you would have gotten that Kroll would have gotten his medicine kit from.
Okay. Then she's gonna go over to Althea and kind of do the like pleading emoji and like, hey, you spare 5 gold, please. I can make like healing potions and stuff.
She'll just kind of give you a glare, and then go into her pouch and take out 5 gold.
Thank you. And she'll kind of spit on her heel and go and buy.
This is one of the great things about the OBS overlay is like actually seeing your characters light up during those interactions.
Russ is gonna buy some padded leather. If I can find some.
Okay.
Or sorry, padded leather. Studded leather.
Okay. Standard PHP price for that. And if you would like to haggle, you can.
He will definitely attempt to haggle. Is that a persuasion check? Is that a...
Yes, persuasion.
Do you want to deceive them and start gaslighting them into thinking it's supposed to be cheaper?
Yeah, that's probably what Trust would do, but he would probably try to persuade first.
So, your initial round of haggling is able to talk the shopkeep down from 45 to 40.
I take it. Studded leather.
And Anna, I did see you're talking about the shopping episode. We will get one of those, don't worry. But that'll be the wide and the underwide episode, which we do have a whole cool little plot line attached to later.
When we finally have money, real money.
Right, and again, you all are... I mean, considering you all survive, you're about to stumble into some money, so...
Would it... Oh, God. Well, okay. Anna will use her disguise self to just look like her paladin form.
Okay, cool.
And
sans Hellrider insignia, I'm assuming.
yeah, the original one that she was wearing as well. Oh wait, no, wait. I think the Hellriders were like they didn't like them, so she's
Yeah,
not
they
gonna use
didn't. They didn't like them. Yeah.
Being arrested on site last time you heard.
No, yeah, she doesn't have any insignia. It's just regular armor.
All right.
She's going to go kind of stumbling through a crowd, and see if she can pickpocket anyone.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. First off, go ahead and make a perception check to see if you can find a good mark. Okay.
Ooh.
Right. So, you see... It is about 10 o'clock in the morning right now, but you see a very inebriated-looking half-elf noble. They are dressed in very nice clothes, but they are frumpled, and it looks like this person has not been home tonight, and they are just stumbling down the street in front of you.
Okay, she's going to walk over to them and kind of, pat them on the shoulders and kind of try and stand them up straight, like, hello there, young man. Or no, fuck, sorry. No, she'll say, keep a straight back. It's bad for your, bad posture. It's bad for your health. and then she'll try and rob him blind.
All right. So the noble stands up straight. He's like, yes, yes, yes. It is fitting of the nobility. It is good of you to do your part to assist the nobility. It is the place of the and as he's going on like that, make a sleight of hand check.
Oh, you got it.
Not bad.
Okay, so while this man does not have very much coin left on him as he has gambled and drank it all away, he does have, first off, it's almost like a coin, like an oversized coin, but it has the symbol of Baldur's Gate on it, and what's more, it has a symbol of a hill with it looks like a mansion on top of it, overlooking Baldur's Gate. That is a patriarch token that allows passage to and from the upper city without any sort of hassle. So you would immediately recognize that as something valuable to be taken. And on top of that, this individual does have let's say about 60 GP worth of assorted gold and jewelry.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Risky, but great when it pays off.
Right?
She'll kind of like be so about the patriarch coin, tossing it behind her, but like Ghost will like grab it.
Okay.
Hopefully, I mean,
Yeah, Ghost will pick it up, kind of trail behind you with it, like looking at you, like I brought it back. But so as soon as Anacola rejoins with the rest of the group, Althea, you would see the coin that is in Ghost's mouth is literally just a pass without harassment token for the city. Like you can just show that to any guard in the upper city, and they will immediately leave you alone. So.
I remember when I used to have one of these. This could be useful later.
DM, do I have one of those based on my the Charlatan Baldur's Gate background?
Charlatan. So yeah, would you? I mean, I think it would be safe to assume that you would have lifted one at one point.
I think I'm just talking about like their specific Baldur's Gate. I think they had one specific for. I when I was looking on the compendium, I picked that specific background. I think that included one of those coins as well.
Okay.
is it in your inventory? It should have been with the background inventory stuff.
Oh, was it? Watch token? Is that what it is?
Watch token. That's it.
Trust
Is
is
it-
gonna kind of nod. Oh, that's a useful piece.
If you don't
And,
mind, if you don't mind, I'll
Oh, sorry, Trust. I'm messing around in your character sheet. I'll stop.
Upon hearing that it has like literally any value, she thought it was like just like any other coin. But upon hearing it has value, she'll like kind of snatch it back from Ghost.
Oh man, I mean,
She
give
had,
it
no
to the,
reason to think, she had no reason to think it had any value, other than being a coin.
give it to the right person and give them access to Upper City. They'll probably pay quite a bit for that.
Is it only valid for one, or does it excuse a group?
It does excuse a group. The more people that carry them, of course, though, the more weight that token carries. So the fact that you would have two of them now could get you out of some trouble with the watch.
Nice.
Keep that handy. Also, did Trust notice the lift from that Anacola did with the
Go ahead and make a perception check, and we'll see if you can beat that 19 sleight of hand.
I did not notice.
Yeah, she was really quick about it.
Right then, shall we?
Bath time.
I'm itching to get my blade soaked in some more blood. A small smile goes on her face.
Very
are certainly-
murdery.
Yeah, I was about to say, we definitely have the vibe from Althea.
Anna will like reach into her bag, or not into her bag, but like the side of her bag, and kind of hold the spear in her hand, and then turn I guess the non-bladed part, to Althea. You wanted this, yes? I realize I have no need.
What is it?
A spear.
Oh, I no longer need it. I can, as she just like opens up her hand and like a spectral spear appears in her hand. I have this now.
Ah, okay.
Much more useful than such mundane weaponry.
Mhm. She'll find just like, or does anyone else want it? If not, I have a place I can put it, I suppose.
Buster's gonna kind of snub his nose at it. No, way too much work.
Fair.
Yeah, I think I'm good with my axe.
Gotcha. Okay. She'll find this.
Anacola, you're breaking up a bit. You went robot for a second on us.
Sorry about that.
Oh, you're good. Cool.
Where did I cut off?
Right after Kroll's response to the spear.
Yeah. So while they're walking through the city towards the bathhouse, she'll leave it at a random blacksmith's place.
Like out front?
Yeah, just like along with the other tools, if she could.
Okay. Ghost picks it up and follows you around with it.
I really want him to attack with it.
He trips a couple people because it's like a 6 foot It's like a 6 foot pole.
Oh no! I love that.
All right. So, not long thereafter, do find yourself in front of a building that does bear a striking resemblance to what Tarina described and what you all found in your note from the cultist. Just one moment, I need to restart my APIs real quick, and I'll drop you all onto the map.
Being dropped onto the map always means it's going to be very safe.
Oh yeah, absolutely, totally safe.
It's just for thematic purposes.
I do prefer being on maps. It just makes me feel more like, I don't know, in control, I guess, being able to move my character around.
Yeah, that makes sense. I get that.
I agree.
Same.
How's everyone's loading going? My bot is having a hard time loading the map for some reason. There it goes.
Reason we're yellow highlight.
Yeah, that's why I had to restart the APIs because everyone was still wounded, but all should be good now.
Okay, gotcha.
All right, everyone. So, in front of you, the bathhouse is a one-story stuccoed building with stained glass windows and clay roof tiles. There are 10-foot tall walls, which you are standing in front of now, enclosing a large courtyard outside of the southeast corner of the building. The closed wooden doors to the courtyard in front of you are engraved with images of smiling nymphs dancing and frolicking in water.
Are there people around?
This is the standard people that would be out on the streets right now. So yes, there are people around. Kroll, as you
Crazy.
approach and kind of move around to the side of the building, you can actually hear people inside as well.
Okay.
So the walls directly in front of you here are the entrance to the courtyard. A pair of wooden doors.
Shall we?
Is Is Kaio with us, or like?
Oh no, sorry, Kaio is not there. I set this map up earlier.
No, that's fine. I just used my wild shape token to add ghost as well.
I don't think I have access to the familiars that you dropped in there. I don't see them.
Which one would you like out right now?
Sprite.
You got it.
Sprite's fine.
That was the sprite being summoned. That little magic dust sound.
There you go. And I'll make you a folder for your familiars as well.
Right.
I guess then we'll start to take magicking.
Okay. So are you ritual casting?
Yes.
So 10 minutes hanging out outside. A couple people. Good.
You can like walk around while ritual casting, right?
For things like detect magic, I'll say yeah, you can. That's fine. Things like summoning your familiar and things like that that require like
Yeah.
braziers and things would be stationary. But I feel like
Yeah, because you have to like light a fire and stuff.
right. But I feel like detect magic should be fine. So Anacola, you do not detect any immediate magic.
Trust is gonna lean up against a wall here. I just post up with his back against the wall, and he's gonna kind of whisper to his head, "Well, show us what you can do," and we'll get the sprite to kind of just fly around the kind of the building and kind of check out the premises.
Okay.
I will close my eyes and see through her vision as she's kind of surveying everything around here.
Okay. So, as your sprite is flying around taking a look at things, it looks like an operating bathhouse. You can see steam rising from vents at the ceiling. Flying around looking into the stained glass windows, you see people inside, in baths. You see a person exit the building from the back and walk around to what looks like a refuse gathering point and dump some garbage and then head back in. It appears to be an operating bathhouse. In addition to that, Anacola, you would get the faintest hint of illusory of illusion magic coming from somewhere inside of the courtyard.
Oh, alright. I'll use my action to see if I can see the aura of it.
Seems to be coming from one of the fountains inside of the courtyard.
What does the fountain look like? Is it producing anything like water or anything?
There's water coming from the fountain. Yeah, it's a fountain, a sculpture of a nymph with water spitting from their mouth.
She'll just kind of go over to it and poke it with her.
No one's gone into the courtyard yet. Have you guys attempted to open the door or anything?
Oh yeah, she'll just burst through.
Absolutely, it's not locked.
Yep, she'll just start poking it with her quarterstaff.
Okay. So, Anacola, as you're poking at the fountain, make a perception check for me.
Oh no.
You see the light ripple strangely on something perched on top of the figure's head. As soon as you look right at it, it coalesces into a little red creature staring right back at you. It hisses at you and kind of does this flourishing spin, turns into a raven, and flies off.
Okay. She'll cast Chill Touch.
Okay, go ahead and make an attack. Roll damage. It strikes it, and you hear him. It hits it like square in the ass, and it's like ah! It turns around towards you and makes a very rude gesture at you as it flies off.
She'll flip him off too. Then she'll just keep heading on like nothing happened. Asshole.
Asshole. All right. So you're in an L-shaped courtyard right now. The lawn is trimmed and well manicured, as is the shrubbery. I'm never going to be able to say the word shrubbery with a straight face in my entire life. Thank you, Monty Python. But the yard is decorated with white marble benches and stone fountains. Each of the fountains is in the form of a smiling nymph tipping a jug that spills water into circular stone basins. As you pass by several stained glass windows that do show people inside of the place bathing, several commoners, men, women, and of course different races and all kinds of different people in there hanging out in the baths, enjoying a nice warm morning bath.
So the doors are right here, right?
Correct.
Okay. Well, shall we enter?
Oh, so.
All right, let's go.
So, the walls of this 20-foot high pillared chamber are adorned with frescoes of bathing royalty. Natural light streams in through stained glass windows, creating colorful patterns on the tiles of polished blue marble that cover the floor. There are 3 shallow, sunken pools containing scintillating perfume-scented water. White marble benches bearing stacks of dry towels are situated near the pools, each of which comes equipped with a pair of brass faucets.
Okay. So there's a secret door in there somewhere.
That was a joke. Sorry.
I was about to say, are you like trying to like empty a bath or something?
Get rid of all the water in the room. No, yeah, that was a joke. I didn't do that.
So a couple of people look up from their baths and just kind of look up towards you, and then just go back to what they were doing. Nobody seems too distracted by your presence here.
Is there any other doors in there?
Yes, there is a door here, and there is a door up here. And speaking of those doors, as you all enter and the door kind of swings itself closed behind you, one of the doors opens. And a person strolls out. I'm sorry for the random commoner pictures for everybody. But these are all different people. These are not clones, I promise. But a person comes out, and they step out and say, "Ah, welcome, welcome. My name is Jabaz. We have plenty of open spots available if you're looking for a bath. It's only 1 gold for an hour."
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm kind of like just searching the area, trying to find any kind of like, I don't know, back entrances or whatever. I don't know what to say.
Very, very, very straightforward. So, they look towards you and they appear. Can somebody roll an insight check for me, please?
We'll do it.
So that question took them aback, and they're like, "There's, I don't know what you're talking about. There's no back entrances here." Their eyes are like darting around, and now they start darting like to all of you individually. And Jabaz is just like, I don't understand why you would be asking such strange questions. I think we may need to close early today. Yes, and then they start looking around the room. "I'm sorry, everybody. We're going to have to close early today. Everybody up and out of the baths, please." The people just kind of look up towards them. Nobody's moving.
That's So he's
think
gonna
I said the
wave his hands down. He's like, sorry for the confusion here. We're from the city. We're the inspectors, and we just wanted to make sure that this premises was sanitary. Is that all right?
The person that just emerged from the other room looks towards you all and she says, I assure you, we are fully up to code. If you have any issues with our paperwork or with our coding, you should take it up with Mr. Lamra Van Thamper, the owner of this establishment. She puts a heavy weight onto that last bit. And
Where
then
might you find her?
she says, well, you'd find her at her mansion or at the Patriarch meetings.
Then you wouldn't mind us if we had a quick peek around. And he'll flick the watch token, just kind of in his hand, and then like quickly put it back in his jacket pocket. Say, just a quick peek.
Anna will much less formally, like kind of like dropping things and like sporadically going through her bag, trying to get her token out, and then show it as well.
All right, the people that are in the baths are slowly beginning to get up. They look up, then they see the person that just came out of the room, and they begin getting up, gathering their things, and not long later, they all depart. Now, the person that came out of the room first, the person that came out of the northern room begins looking around and they say, you frightened the Jabaz. It's not difficult to do, but I still must know why you are here. An inspection, you said? Whoever did the inspection line needs to roll a deception check. Okay. Says, I assure you we are up to code, but you're more than welcome to take a look around at the faucets. And as I'm sure you know, this is one of the more sophisticated plumbing systems in the city. As such, it is exquisitely well maintained, but you are more than welcome to take a look around.
And why don't we just do our thing and be out of their hair quickly?
The one who introduced themselves as Jabaz says, yes, please, and then goes back into their room and closes the door behind them.
We're gonna
Investigate. Magic stuff. Would my detect magic still be out?
Yes, and you do not detect anything else other than that invisible imp you found earlier.
So we're actively looking for some kind of hidden entrance right now.
So,
And it was underground as well.
Kroll, as you approach that back room, the woman who came out of that room steps in front of the door and says, there's no plumbing in there.
We're also here to check the paperwork to make sure everything's in order.
And I shall retrieve it for you. And she goes into the room and very pointedly closes the door behind her.
Can I was just gonna say, could I summon a rat? Like summon a familiar rat?
The familiar takes a while to summon,
would-
doesn't it? Or can you do that quickly as a druid?
No, I do it as an action.
Awesome. Yeah.
As she tries to close the door, I'd actually like to forcefully put my foot in the door, so that it cannot fully close.
Okay. So you can see that this person, go ahead and make an insight check, Althea.
Mm-hmm.
So the person, she looks towards you and she says, "You really shouldn't be back here. This is an employees only area. I can get all the paperwork that you need."
Darling, you know, that would be great and all, but you see, it starts to get like a little glint in her eyes as a little smile appears on her face. I've been at this business for a long time, and lots of hidden things usually tend to come up, or should I say, shady business comes up in the most strange places. For example, I received a report that there might be embezzlement going on. So I hope you don't mind as she kind of like pushes her way into the room. If I take a look at the folders for myself before you hide them somewhere.
First off, roll an intimidation check.
Okay.
They don't resist as you push past them. So she is just looking not towards the desk, but towards a back corner of the room over and over again. She's like, please, you don't know them. They kill for fun. They'll murder us all. And as she's saying that, she keeps looking back towards the back corner of the room.
Ah, is that a fact? She'll kind of like flip the badge that the captain of the guard gave us back in when we were at the gate, and be like, "Well,
She
in
looks
that case, you're
down
lucky."
towards it and then back to you and says, they won't care who you're connected to. They don't care at all. I've seen them. I've seen, and you can see the panic growing in her face.
Does she look like she's involved with them, or like she's
She
just being used
looks
by them?
terrified.
Okay. So I'm like, don't worry, darling. This is what we're here for. In fact, wouldn't it be nice if you didn't have to worry about them being around all the time, so you could, you know, relax here in peace and actually do your job properly, not always live in fear?
Make a persuasion check at advantage. She says, you swear you won't tell them we helped you?
Of course. We're only here for one thing.
She reaches out and touches one of the stones on the wall, and it slides away.
Your cooperation will be remembered. If you wish to leave the premise temporarily while we deal with the issue, I will permit it.
She nods and just like bolts past you, and as she goes, she practically falls into the bath, but only like half a leg goes in as she stumbles out. And she's good.
And take your coworker with you.
Yeah, as she steps out, she yells out, "Jabaz!" And the door just like cracks open. Trust, with you standing right there, Jabaz is just like, ah! And like slams the door, and you can hear them like dive under their desk.
Don't worry, we'll just finish up the inspection and we'll be out of your hair soon.
The woman who's
For extermination, and I'm like gonna give a eye to Althea. Whatever it may be.
Let them go. They're not what we're looking for.
The woman shouts
They're really
down.
victims.
The woman shouts down. She says, "Jabaz, come! We're closing early. Come on, let's go." And Jabaz like basically like hugs the wall the entire way out as the two of them leave.
I'm loving how the rules are fitting my character right now. Well then, shall I'm gonna go ahead and before we go into the room, I'm just gonna cast the Armor of Agathes on myself before we go anywhere inside. And it's upcasted to level 2.
How long does that last?
1 hour.
All right, everyone. So the wall has slid away, and immediately the rank smell of sewage wafts into the room.
Oh. My rat is going to jump off my shoulder and start scurrying towards the sewage.
Nice. Kroll, you can see a set of stairs leading down into darkness.
Okay. I start to descend.
And with that, everyone, we're going to go ahead and take our break. When we come back, we will all officially enter the Dungeon of the Dead 3. So, as you all descend that staircase leading down beneath the bathhouse, the smell of sewage and just rank water gets stronger and stronger until Kroll, you find yourself in front of a passage, a room that has knee deep water rising up from it. It is brackish and there are things floating in it that I'm sure you would rather not necessarily know what they were.
Yeah. So I'll take a step in. Can I... Well, there's really no way to really see. This water is really murky, so there's no
Yes.
way I can see, like, if anything's on the bottom or,
No,
like,
it is
trap
completely
wise.
opaque.
Okay. Alright, so we'll just...
I think the whole party has
Slowly.
dark vision. Nice.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking about it.
I have light cantrip for free as well.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Wait, how do you get?
So the ceilings in here are about 8 to 9 feet tall. They are
I'm following
braced
Aesmir.
with wooden
Oh, yep.
beams in various locations.
I'm gonna
Alright,
have my rat
should we
scared of
go? There you go.
Not for
Alright.
danger. It'll go this way.
Althea, you see a humanoid corpse floating face down in the water in front of you. They appear to have multiple stab wounds in the back, and they will go ahead and make a medicine check just on your cursory observation. They appear very dead, floating face down in the water as they are. Anacola, as you approach your... again, probably dead.
Gotcha.
There are several stab wounds in the back, and they appear to be wearing the same type of robes that you saw on the Dead 3 cultists earlier. This is what appears to be a Dead 3 cultist.
I'm assuming I don't find anything on them, or do I have to?
They have nothing on them except for their robes.
Gotcha. No armor.
No armor. They appear to have just been in the robe.
Gotcha. Okay, then I'm gonna send my rat down this corridor. No. No. See if they can smell anything. Smell danger at all. Or are
The
they
water, your rat would be swimming, just so you all know. And just as a heads up, anywhere where you see the water is going to be difficult terrain. So it doesn't impede us now when we're just in free movement mode, but it is difficult terrain.
Good to know. Could you, Anna will just go over to Althea and like kind of hold her quarterstaff out. Could you light the berries at the end of my quarterstaff?
Sure, I'll cast light cantrip.
Okay. Get you a rat, Althea.
I have the rat.
Or Anacola, sorry.
Yeah, they'll just be on my shoulder for now.
A celestial radiance within me just kind of lights up the rat.
Oh! Torch is now a group loot. Sorry.
Yes. I pulled it.
I'll just go ahead and give Anacola light.
Okay.
How much light is it?
Just like this one.
Thank you.
Okay, so 40 feet of light.
There you go.
Or 40 feet of bright light.
Okay, you're all set. Here, I'll bring our torch back in. I'll just transmog it.
Oh yeah, she'll also like continuously shillelagh.
All right.
I'm just like itching for a fight, so I'm just gonna like keep going.
Okay.
But
Ooh, a
not
door.
too far away from everyone, hopefully.
Come on, torch. Where are you? There it is.
What does the door look like?
So, the door in front of you is old in wood. It is semi-bloated, almost expanded into the frame that it's in. Yeah, just soft, rotting wood.
She'll try to stealthily kind of peek it open.
Okay. Make a stealth check. This is a bit of a weird one because, but yeah, just make a stealth check.
Sleight of hand or?
The door is bloated and like kind of shoved into the like up against the wall, up against the frame. So it's not locked or anything. It just, as you push it, it just makes like a kind of a noise. Not super loud, but definitely not quiet. Luckily the water does seem to absorb a lot of the noise. It doesn't really echo or reverberate around too much, but it does swing open. And in front of you is another door, and you can see to the east another one. And with your light, you can see that the southern door bears a carving on it. The carving portrays a cloaked figure whose face is hidden under a cowl. Skeletal hands reach out, clutching a screaming human skull. That is the southern door. The door to the east depicts a tall, armored man wearing a bucket helm. His right gauntlet is painted black and clutches a set of shackles.
She's gonna ask her little rat friend to see if he can smell any like different people behind the door? Question mark.
Okay. Make a perception check for the rat. Does rat have keen smell?
Yes.
Okay, so add advantage.
Oh, whoops. Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't tell. The smell of the water and just the general stank of the area is making it difficult to pick out individual things.
I've never
But
gotten a cold.
Althea, as from where you're standing, you can see the northern door also has a figure drawn into it. You see a powerfully built individual with a skull in place of their head, like just a skinless, fleshless skull, and long curved blades where his hands should be. That would be etched onto the northern door.
Let me check if any of the doors are locked.
Okay. They don't even have handles on them. They don't appear to have any sort of locking mechanisms or anything like that on them. Just wooden, basically wooden hunks of wood shoved into the place on hinges.
Which way?
So I'm just gonna open this door right here.
The one you're in front of?
Yep. A long hallway.
Anacola, what's the communication like between you and your rat?
I think it's like telepathic for now. She'll speak to it when she telepathically speaks to it as well. It's like
Okay.
when she speaks, it doesn't actually understand her, but like telepathically, I think it does.
So your rat can hear what sounds like chains jingling nearby in that passage to the south of where it's at right now.
Yeah, I can't head any further. He doesn't want to drown. There are chains that way. I'm just gonna go over here and kick this door open.
Nice. So, in here, lying on the floor of this otherwise empty room, are the pale bodies of 3 humans in filthy black robes. They are arranged in a triangular formation, and there is a lit torch lying on the ground in between them all. A rough-hewn staircase to the left leads down to another torch-lit chamber.
Are any of them wearing armor?
They're all in just filthy black robes.
What is this? Is it like a coffin?
It's a sarcophagus, yeah.
I'll go for a closer look.
Althea, as you lean in closer, the eyes open. It shrieks at you.
Oh. Anacola up.
And we are going to roll initiative.
Whoa!
Luckily, literally right before they got up, Althea says, "I get close and look at one. Otherwise, I would have had surprise on you all." But luckily, they do not.
I figured.
So, Althea, as you lean in close to the one that you're closest to, on your right there, Althea, the eye just shoots open, and it's like, ah! And they leap to their feet.
It sucks. My best damage spell is way too AoE to fit in here.
Just buffs would probably be good here anyways. Like protection from evil would be pretty good since these are evil.
But they got real low on their initiatives too. It's good. Good for you guys.
Oh, I am getting the worst luck with initiative.
Yeah, ever since y'all entered the dungeon, it's just been low roll, low roll, low roll.
Oh, it's me.
Looks like we're just missing Trust's initiative. Oh, nope, there it is. Why aren't you in there? Trust, go ahead and click on your token and roll initiative again, please.
Give me 1 second.
Got it.
Being really slow.
I knew I was being dumb by taking like no damage first level spells. And all of my other ones are too situational to apply to these guys.
That at me?
Checking. It did. Unfortunately, I do have to set you back to your original 6.14.
Good.
Okay. So, Anacola, you hear commotion, somebody shout in the room behind you, and suddenly those people that were laying on the ground playing dead are very much not so dead anymore, on their feet, with wicked-looking skulls on chains hanging down from their sides. And with that, Anacola, what would you like to do?
Alright. Would a ranged attack, would they have like half cover from Althea?
No. It's something that we went over in session 0, but just for future reference, since you unfortunately did not get to be that in that session 0, shooting past individuals is not going to be an issue. Your allies can easily sidestep. Like, I like to picture the 5-foot square on the ground, and then I always like to remember just how easy it is to move around in that and just how big a 5-foot square on the ground is. So yes, you can shoot past your allies with relative ease. It's only when there's like a huge cluster of them that I'll start to consider adding cover or anything like that. But yeah, shooting past your allies will not give any cover unless there's a lot of things going on in the way.
All right. Then I guess she will. Sorry.
No worries.
Okay, yeah, she'll be basic. She's just going to, chill touch this guy.
Chill touch. The attack that is ranged and deals necrotic damage. Right, 18 certainly hits.
Amazing. And that will, she'll tell this guy to go down there. That'll be your turn.
Okay. Roll. And also, on that same note of occupied spaces from earlier, moving through your ally spaces is free. It does not use any extra movement or anything like that. Moving through enemy occupied spaces requires a contested athletics check. Other than that, you can move through your ally spaces. You just cannot stop on the space on a space that is occupied.
Okay. I am going to move past down into here. And I will attack this one in front of me.
Okay.
With my battle axe. One-handed.
9 is not going to do it. The decrepit, too thin figure in front of you just backs away and looks up with just a ruined face, just mottled with like disease and just grossness. Puts out this smile with black teeth.
All right. So that's my turn.
Okay. Althea, the individual in front of you, begins to swing the skull at their side and brings it up over their head in an overhand arc, and it is only a 5 to hit.
That horribly misses. I break the skull.
All right. So the next one in front of you, Kroll, is going to do much the same thing. Begins swinging that skull flail around and swings it at you. This is gonna be what kind of night it is, isn't it? It's a 6 to hit, Kroll.
Low hit.
All right, trust.
I'm gonna use DC 13.
Okay. 13 deck save. For 6 damage. They fail. All right. So as they are bathed in radiant light, they shriek at it, just absolutely just appalled by the audacity that you would put radiance on them. They are quite, well, let's just say, light and mirrors are not their friend.
Well, good to know.
Right. One to the south, Althea, they're going to reach a hand up towards you. And you see this black necrotic energy begin to form around their hand and then arch towards you like this skeletal claw removed from their body and just flying towards you. That is a 15 to hit, Althea. Althea, 15?
That's a big miss.
Okay. And that brings us to your turn.
Alright. I'm going to step into the room a bit more. There we go. And we're gonna grab our spectral spear and smash this guy. Come on.
Oh, it's like the guy from before.
Actually, it doesn't have to be a spear right now. It's true. Or actually, I got to add it in later, but it's gonna be a rapier, I guess.
Okay.
We're gonna summon our rapier into my hand, and we're gonna stab at this guy. I'll just use the two-handed spear for now, so I get that macro in.
You got it. 12 hits. Right. Takes a spear to the flank, shouts out in pain, but they are very much still standing.
That's it for me.
All right, Anacola.
Oh, it's me again. Okay, hello. She will, because hmm, she'll, yeah, she can see this guy. She'll hex this guy, and she still has her shillelagh out, so she'll just make a shillelagh attack.
Okay. $19 certainly hits.
It's 4 magical bludgeoning, and then
Nice.
5 necrotic.
Oh, I forgot to add. It took 5 damage from me.
Okay.
I forgot to turn my bonus on. Or wait, never mind. No, scratch that. I put it in. Or no, I didn't. I didn't put the damage in. Okay, I only put the attack roll in.
All right, Anacola. Anything else?
That will be her turn.
All right, Kroll.
So Krull is going to take another swing. So he swings with his battle axe with one hand.
13 hits.
Okay, so he does.
Anacola, you
And
can
slash.
click off your token and click back on and try that macro
Yeah.
again.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's my fault. I always forget to reset macros after level ups. Okay, Kroll. You bring your battle axe down square into this thing's clavicle, and it just digs in a good 9 or 10 inches. The eyes go wide and look towards you. This time, they are not playing dead.
Yay. Okay. And that'll be it.
Okay.
Well, hold on.
No, yeah,
Let
go
me
ahead.
move. I'll move right there. That's it.
Okay. Puts you right in this one's face, and after seeing you take down their friend, they are going to swing their skull flail at you. That is a crit for 22 to hit. It is 10
22 to
bludgeoning
hit.
roll.
Okay. So minus-
That one's dead. Trust, you're up.
I'm going to Sacred Flame that same one.
Flame. Five. They fail once again, and this time, as they shriek, they basically burst into small amounts of flame and drop down. Also, this time, not so much playing.
I'll back up just a step to give.
Okay. Althea, the one in front of you, is going to swing their flail at you, and it is only a 13 to hit. Jeez. That brings us to you,
That's a big
Althea.
no.
Althea?
Ooh. You know, I'm pretty sure that hits.
There we go. Yeah, there we go. It's working. She's so laggy. Oh, the +1. Damn.
A +1.
Oh well.
Still, Althea. How does this bedraggled cultist go down?
So the rapier that she summoned just shimmers with energy as it just launches out of her a hand with a thrust right through its eye socket, and then she flourishes and takes the head off.
Right. All right, everybody. So that does drop us out of initiative.
I'm really glad I didn't waste a wild shape on that fight. That would have been really bad.
All right. So, Anacola, as you are in that room, you can see that it was a partially collapsed crypt. And a stone sarcophagus open, and it looks like it was looted a long, long time ago. But there's some sacks and things kind of just tossed into it.
She'll poke it with her quarterstaff, like one of the bags.
So as you're poking and prodding and moving stuff around, you see inside of there 3 leather-bound books.
She'll flip open one of the books with her quarterstaff.
They are very clearly spell books. The first one
Oh.
is bound in red leather. The second one has a personal rune burnt into its umber cover. The third book is bound in scaly black reptile hide. They are all spell books and contain various spells.
Damn.
She has like a feeling that she's eventually going to know someone who might need these at some point, so she's gonna put them all in her bag. She also just likes having, magics and things. So should I just like say 3 spell books?
Yep, that's fine. I'll be able to reference which ones you have when that becomes necessary.
Well, I'm curious to see what was down this hallway with the chains.
I was just gonna tap Curl on the shoulder and say, "That looked like it hurt," and I will use Cure Wounds. Well, there you go. You get it back.
Sweet. Hell yeah, thank you.
Nice.
1.
It's been a really interesting night for rolls,
Good thing I always cast at 2nd level.
right?
I'm gonna start venturing down this hallway if you guys want to follow.
Yeah, and we'll skitter around with him.
Okay.
The rat also on her shoulder.
There's no light sources, are there?
I am one.
The rat was a light source.
Oh wait,
Okay.
was it the rat? I thought it was my
Yeah, the staff with the berries.
Oh, the staff? Oh, okay. I thought, okay.
Yeah, trying to
kinda
get
wave
my sprite
So,
ahead of the group.
Anacola, as you step
Wait, what
into
was that?
there... Go ahead. Before anyone moves any further, what was the question?
I think Trust was saying something.
I was just saying that my sprite, since it's invisible, it can stay invisible. It would be a little ahead of the group.
Okay, that tracks. That's solid. So Trust, as your sprite turns the corner just in front of Anacola there, they see a couple of things. I'll go ahead and describe the situation and then assume that your sprite will relay the information to you. But the eastern part of the room, where you're all looking into, is unlit, flooded, and braced with floor-to-ceiling wooden beams. Your sprite would have seen rough-hewn steps rising out of the murky water to the western portion of the room, which is dry and lit by a pair of torches. You all would see the light of these torches from where you're standing. And these torches are in sconces that flank a stone altar. Shackled to the wall behind the altar is a sickly-looking man in a loincloth with a burlap sack over his head. An alcove in the north wall contains a freestanding suit of plate mail, missing its helm. Standing before the altar are 2 grim figures. A powerfully built woman clutching a mace, and an even bigger man wearing a bucket helm. The helmed man is jabbing the prisoner with a spear, causing him to twitch. Both figures are clad in chainmail, and the woman carries a wooden shield with a leering skull painted on it. One of them, the woman, is kind of leaned up against the wall, facing the direction facing westward.
The blunt end of the spear or like the sharp end?
The sharp end.
Cool.
I'll try to relay that as quietly as I can to the rest of the group in front of me.
Oh, I have an idea. Okay. Anna will kind of like quietly wave her staff around. Suggest that Althea turn off the light spell. And she's going to cast. Oh, okay. Yep, I dropped text. I forgot about that. Yep, pass without a trace. Or pass without trace.
Anicola, it is important to note that one of the individuals is facing in your direction. So while they may not have noticed the light, entering the room would alert them even with extraordinarily high stealth checks.
Oh, okay. If she, well...
Yeah, you would know that. The sprite would have relayed that information to you.
Okay, then she'll focus on Hex again. She would have not cast that and instead have kept focusing on Hex, sorry. Yeah, she'll just kind of step in.
So the woman kind of looks over towards you, lets out this sneer, elbows the guy, who turns and says, "Ha ha! Here I thought we weren't going to have any fun all day." Begins stepping towards you all. And we are going to roll initiative.
Woo.
Dungeons, yay! Right.
Am I able to get my Eldritch? Oh, I was muted. Muted finding.
Wow.
I was saying I'm just gonna turn the corner and Eldritch blast them, but.
Right. Everybody in there? Yep, awesome.
Once
There's
again,
two in
I
there.
have amazing initiative rolls for no reason.
Man, everybody's just rolling so bad today. All the enemies, all of you. Okay, so, Anicola, as you all turn the corner, and these two individuals seem very happy to see you all, they draw weapons and begin to march towards you. Anicola, what do you do?
Do these guys look like the person they met in the forest? Like the person who's drowning people?
Yes, they do.
Okay, she's gonna hex this guy and then throw and then like a hand is going to kind of like break through the ground and try and grab his foot. I'm gonna chill touch again. Wait, no, sorry, I just realized I'm not gonna do that at all. I'm going to spike growth.
Okay, spike growth.
Ooh.
Yes, she'll focus on this. So it is going to be it's going to be focused on the king, or what looks like the noble guy.
Okay.
So that is going to be.
That is big.
Yeah, so since it's focused on it, yeah, it is right there. I think it should go. Yes, if it's centered on, or can it not be centered on him, or.
You would be losing out a lot of its range to center it on him, but I will allow it.
Oh wait, yeah, okay. The range looks different than I was imagining. So, centered on this guy then.
Okay.
You could just put it to where it's like going right up to the edge
Right
here, so
there.
of course if they want to fight us.
Yeah. Yeah, that looks good.
Yeah.
So right there.
Like right up to Crawley.
Okay.
Yeah, that was her action. I think, right? That's an action. Yeah, that's her action. And then she is just going to run and hide.
Nice. Okay. So, Kroll, you would have seen just this mass of vines and just thorns just erupt out of the ground. That area is difficult terrain and will hurt if you go into it.
All right. I don't know what to do then. Let's see. I mean, I got a couple hand axes I guess I could throw.
Hand axes can be thrown.
All right, let's do that. Let's do the hand axes. So throw that.
Oof.
Screw it. I'm doing my
Okay,
sessional.
which one are you throwing at?
Just one of the front women. This one right here, I guess.
Okay. So the one up here is the man with the bucket helm wearing the better armor, and the one down south here is the woman, very similar looking to the one you fought earlier in the grove.
Okay.
Okay, so which one did you throw it at? North or south?
South. This one
Okay.
right here. And I don't really have anything to do with my bonus action, so I will just. That'll be it.
Right. So you see the woman to the south just let loose this sneer as she looks around at everything. She reaches down and pulls a bow, draws an arrow, and lets loose with a longbow at Kroll.
Well, good. Okay.
It's only 11 to hit though, Kroll.
Okay, that misses.
The man with the bucket helm, on the other hand, is just gonna like laugh, belly laugh as he just goes trudging through. And that is as far as he can get. But he is going to use his dash action and get the rest of the way out. So I know he takes 2d4 for every 5 feet he travels, right?
Yes. So he moved.
He's going to
5,
move farther too. He's going to come all the way out.
Yeah. So that's what 8d 84.
Hold on. Wait just a second. I have a maneuver
Okay.
called Brace that allows me to take an attack for with my superiority dice. Sorry, this is the first time
No,
I'm
you're good. You're
doing
good. Take your
this.
time.
So yeah, let me put it up.
When a creature you can see moves into the reach you have with the melee weapon you're wielding, you can use your reaction to expend one superiority dice and make an attack against the creature using that weapon. If the attack hits, add the superiority. Oh, cool. So you just basically get opportunity to attack when somebody enters your space.
Yeah, so I just let's see. So it's a D8, so I'll do that. I roll a D20 first, right? Well, not a D20. I roll
Right, you roll
my
an attack.
hand axe first. Yeah, battle axe.
That would have been right when they got to there. Ooh.
Yeah, and it misses. All right.
Unfortunately, it does appear that you expend your superiority die one way or the other.
Okay.
Those were garbage rolls. 16
Yeah,
damage.
that is
4
pretty
1.
Gets to right
4
there.
1.
And you can see the vines and the thorns just ripping away at this guy as he comes charging forward. He's still just laughing, putting out his arms to even catch more of the thorns as he goes through. Doesn't give a fuck. All right. Althea. His laughter's like reverberating inside of that bucket helm he's wearing.
Are you muted again out there?
I'm just thinking if there's any way I can push him back into the thorns. I don't think I have anything for it. No, I don't. Alright, we're going to stop that up. We're just gonna start hammering at this guy in front of me. Come on, character sheet, let's go. So laggy.
Yeah, Roll20 has been particularly laggy lately. I'm definitely feeling it right now too.
Really bad tonight.
I don't know if it rolled.
I haven't seen a roll yet. There it is. Nice. Impressive roll too. Glad we waited for it.
Wow. Alright, well, yeah. I'll laugh at him as well.
Just the two of you just laughing at each other. All right.
I always like a fight. I'm done.
Okay. Trust, you're up.
I'm gonna move around the corner, and I see Daddy in front here. I will use Hex. That individual.
Okay.
So I
I
should
really
probably
hate
add-
how Hex uses a spell slot on Warlocks.
I don't like that.
Really don't like it
Let's do
Well, it lasts
concentration.
the whole day at
It
that later
does.
level.
Yeah. And I will fire an Eldritch Blast
Eldritch
at
Blast.
that person. I'm assuming that hits.
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Make sure I add the hex damage to that. Come on. Why? Yeah, that's a terrible roll. That's full. 2 force and 2 necrotic. But they get pushed back 10 feet.
Okay. Forced movement unfortunately does not provoke opportunity attacks.
Oh, if only you're aiming in such a way that you can put it back into the spikes.
Trust can't see around the corner yet. So I'm gonna be walking into now. Now I'm gonna be walking in. Oh, there's people. Nice.
You would have saw them with the sprite, right?
No, when they were there, yeah.
I would probably see them in the spike. Where's the guy that's outside of the spikes?
Down here.
I don't think I can even see them. Oh,
Keep in mind, difficult terrain.
gotcha. Okay, so I can only move. Wait, I can only move.
15
Like
feet in the
movement.
water.
There's not
15 feet,
double
so-
difficult terrain, right? So they wouldn't have had to do like half their movement to get through the water and
Right.
the vines.
Yeah, I can only get up to here anyways, so I don't think I could probably hit them at an angle that I could push them in, even if I wanted to. So, that is my turn.
All right, Anacola.
Ooh, okay. So she's going to run down here. If I get, oh god, it's definitely lagging.
But yeah, it's really bad right now.
Sorry. Okay.
When you hexed him, what did you give him disadvantage? What did you give him? What check did you use?
It's strength,
Okay.
but I don't think
Cool.
that I don't think that impacts saving throws though. So
Yeah, just ability check.
It
Strength
impact
check.
grappling.
Yeah, it does.
there you go.
Okay, so Anna is going to go into the sprites area,
That's
and
fine.
then yes, okay, she is going to Thorn Whip. If
Weird.
she's allowed to do that.
Macro should work now.
It's just making space.
Right?
Okay, that's the spell. I'm gonna make an attack.
I'll bring your sprite
wait,
back in
maybe
just a
it's in the-
second.
Maybe it's in my core, the core thing. It is. I got it.
Okay.
There we go. Yeah, amazing.
Oh, nice. See,
yeah,
y'all
it's not
just
gonna
y'all are
work.
just saving up your excellent rolls for later.
There you
Yeah. And then she is going to run away.
go. Nice.
And that is her turn. Yes, that was a spell, so that's her turn.
Okay, Kroll.
All right, Kroll is going to move down to the one to the south. He is going to attack with his battle axe. One-handed. There we go.
That's a hit.
All right, and I am going to use a superiority dice to do a trip attack.
Nice.
Okay.
Ugh, gonna trip someone into this water? It's so gross.
So let me bring that up.
They make a strength save or fall down, right?
Yeah, it says if they're large or smaller,
And they
they have to
certainly
make
are.
a strength save. And it's at 13, I believe.
They do save meat to beat.
Okay.
Oh,
Still take all that damage though, which is considerable.
Okay. And that's my turn.
Okay. One with the longbow is going to draw and take a shot at Althea this time. Althea gets a 19 to hit.
Aw, darn it. I wanted to get in range of the melee person. Okay,
3 piercing.
3 it is.
All right. That brings us down to the one that Kroll is currently in the face of. And he is going to shout, Kazira! Kill the wretch! And using his voice of command, is going to order Kazira to make a melee attack against the noble strapped to the wall. So, with that, Kazira does put down her bow and pull her mace. She will have to use an action next turn to re-get that bow if she wants it. But she swings the mace at the unarmed guy on the wall and hits him for 4 bludgeoning. You hear the guy strapped to the wall gasp in pain, ribs breaking. But then, the one in front of Kroll is going to use the rest of his action. Scroll, it's an 11 to hit.
Okay, that misses, and I'm gonna do another superiority die to do riposte.
Okay. Use your reaction to expend 1
So-
superior dice to make a melee weapon attack against the creature. Cool.
Okay, so that would be with my battle axe.
10's not going to do it.
Gosh damn it.
Yeah,
All
that
right.
sucks. Very bad rolls all around tonight.
Yeah.
Enemies, PCs, everybody. Okay. That does bring us back to Althea.
Alright. So that's
Althea, did you take that 3 piercing from earlier?
I did, yep. I have temporary tree right now.
Oh, cool. That makes sense.
Let's see here. We're gonna go right here, and we're going to. Actually, before I do that, I'm gonna Eldritch Blast this person over here.
It 18 hits.
9 force.
Right. Looking hurt. Still standing.
And I'm gonna go down here. I'm gonna taunt this guy. Be like, come at me.
Alright.
That'll be my turn.
Trust.
Trust is gonna look over in this direction where I see the guy strapped to the wall, and he's gonna hold both his hands and will kind of like do a double snap and will cast Healing Light on this one, so using
Okay.
bonus action. So that's is that just a d6? I don't have a max. Let's roll a d6. Huh.
Okay.
And then
Back to max.
will Sacred Flame the other
Nice.
guy simultaneously. Oh, then without the hex, sorry.
Right.
Just 5 radiant.
Does fail miserably. And after they just finish smacking this guy in the chest with a mace, and they pull away, and they're just kind of this smile on their faces. They watch all the wounds heal, and they're like, "What?" Look back towards you just in time to catch a bolt of radiant fire in the face. All right. Anything else?
That's my turn.
Anacola.
She is going to 10, 20. Yeah, she'll go down here. She'll see that this guy died somehow. And see, what does this guy look like at the moment?
He's actually looking pretty healthy now. Better than he was when he first arrived.
Yeah, but is he like scared?
He has a burlap sack over his head.
Ah, okay. She'll contemplate. She'll contemplate it for a second before sighing sadly and tapping her quarterstaff against the wall, and then the vines are going to all wilt, start to die as she drops concentration.
Okay.
So that was just a free thing. So with her action, or wait, she's 1, 10, 20. Not much. Oh wait, I guess she'll touch this guy.
15 does not hit.
Okay, that'll be her turn.
Okay, Kroll.
All right, so take another swing.
Sorry, dude.
It's great. You know what? I'm action surging, so I'm gonna go again.
Do it.
Fuck this.
Oh, good hell!
Oh,
I already used my
Yeah,
inspiration.
you
so I
did.
can't. All right.
Oh no. All right. Azira is dead. Well, the guy in front of you is going to jab at you twice with his spear, and he gets a 24 and a 14
Yeah, 24 hits.
for
14
7
now.
piercing.
Okay, and I will use my last superiority die to do a riposte.
Good luck.
So let me just take the damage first. So 7 damage. Sorry, for some reason it's not popping up. All right, there we go.
24 hits.
Nice.
There we go. Oh, I didn't. Oh, let me make sure it's superior die. There we go. All right, so 18.
Kroll, roaring after your first miss, turning around and just second burst of energy, swinging your axe down. It crashes right onto the guy's bucket helm, splits it in two, and as the sides of the helm fall away and splash into the water, you see a very surprised, wide-eyed looking man on the other side of it. And we are going to drop out of initiative again.
Everything.
ooh.
Right.
Yeah, and we'll keep moving this. Why can't I like select?
So I'm gonna completely ignore the noble for at first because I'm interested in this armor. It looks really nice.
Us will go check on the noble that he just saved.
Does this plate armor look wearable?
So it is welded together and mostly just aluminum.
No.
The gauntlets look real though.
Gauntlets look real? I'll check out the gauntlets.
Althea, as soon as you touch those gauntlets, they begin to tremble and shake.
I knew it.
And we're back in initiative.
I knew it. I was when I heard there was like plate armor just standing there. I was like, oh okay.
Okay.
I roll good again. I love this. This is great. I'm doing great today. On initiative.
I just can't get a high initiative for the life of me right now.
Okay. Go ahead and get them in the initiative, though these two are going to act on the same initiative count.
Is there only? Oh wait, are they two different things?
They are 2 gauntlets.
Oh,
Ah,
come
okay.
on.
Anacola.
Ugh.
Okay. She knew, like she called it. So she's going to snap her fingers and cast heat metal, on the one on the right.
Okay.
Spell.
Boom. I'm assuming I don't even know how it would save, so I'll just
So-
use spell description.
Right. Let's take a look at it.
You cause the object to grow red hot. Any creature in physical contact with the object takes 2d4 fire damage when you cast the spell. So it doesn't require a save for that.
So
it just takes.
generally,
Just take
I've seen this interpreted as the object, like you can't cast heat metal on a warforged, right? Or if there was like a steel dragon, you couldn't cast heat metal on dragon.
I
But
imagine you could. Right? 'Cause
these...
You're melting their armor, so they like it makes it like harder for them to move.
Right, like it actually came up a couple times in my Rime of the Frostbane game. We had to pull up official rulings on it, but this is a little different than casting heat metal on a metal dragon or something along those lines. These are actual objects that have been animated. So,
Just added fire damage to them essentially. They now have fire damage.
They do one
right.
they
So,
hit
fire.
so
they
we will allow these things to be affected by heat metal, but as mentioned before, they will do an additional. We'll call it an additional 1d8 each fire damage when they hit anything.
What? Oh gods. Okay.
You buff them.
But they are gonna take damage from it, so they do have to make the con saves.
Amazing. Okay.
You know what? The internet is a thing. Let me.
No, the con save is to drop it. It just takes the damage as
Okay,
soon as I
got it.
use a bonus action. And it can't drop itself, I imagine.
Okay, so the official rulings by Jeremy Crawford is that animated objects are creatures, not objects, and ineligible targets for heat metal. However,
okay.
we can allow it to happen as long as you're okay with taking extra fire damage when they strike you.
I would rather not. I like to stick to stuff, so I'm not gonna do that.
Okay.
Spike growth again. No, I'm kidding.
Just like all over the place.
No, she'll get into crawl space and just kind of whack it with the shillelagh.
Okay.
Sorry about that. That is a 12 to hit.
12 does not hit.
Okay, I realize that going into crawl space, I'll have to take an opportunity attack as I back away.
As you back out, right? Okay.
Unless they're like tiny objects and I can take their space.
They are technically small. I think they are technically tiny, or small at least. Small
The
constructs.
armor is there though.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I was thinking with
Okay.
the armor.
So it's only a 6 to hit you with the opportunity, though.
Okay, that misses.
Okay. Trust.
I have a -4 in mid dex.
Oh, jeez,
Going
nice.
to, bonus action hex on this one on the left.
Okay.
And I will. So, I'll just take your claim it.
Just happened.
Or hex damage, then sacred flame
It's like-
damage.
Roll 20 just caught up to all the damage I did over the past, 10 minutes on everybody. Okay, so... Dexterity save. It gets a 17, unfortunately.
That'll save.
Okay.
Still hex though.
Right, and that brings us to the gauntlets. Trust, are you gonna move?
I'm gonna stay right here.
Okay. Althea, they are both gonna start punching at you, as you are the one who touched them. Althea,
Sounds
it
good.
is a 20 and a 5. That is so on brand
Well,
for
the 5 definitely misses, and the 20 would hit.
5 bludgeoning.
Right, and it takes 10 cold damage.
Nice. Armor bag fist. How much? 10?
Yep.
Nice. Okay. And the other one, yep, that's both of them. Girl, you're up.
All right. So the one closest to me, this one right here, I will attack my battle axe. for
17 just hits.
Okay. For 7.
Okay.
And that's it.
Althea.
All right. We are going to swing down on the left one here.
Okay. 14's not going to do it.
I'll take the 21.
21 will do it. All right. Crashes down to the ground, no longer animate.
Woo! One down, one to go.
Gonna wear these motherfuckers.
Junk metal. So easy to break. I end my turn.
Anna.
Okay. She's just going to try and like hold its hand with the skeletal hand.
Nice. 13 does not do it though.
Okay, it misses. They didn't make the high five.
Right? It reaches out like it's gonna shake your hand. It's just a psych.
Yeah. That'll be her turn.
My 90s is showing. Damn
Love it.
it. All right. Trust, you're up.
I will bonus action move my hex over to the remaining glove and then Sacred Flame it as well.
Dexterity save result is a 14. Damn, sorry. Unfortunate.
I'm
What did
staying
you have,
still.
by the way.
Dexterity. I want them to stop moving.
Okay, anything else, Trust?
Nope, that's it.
It's gonna try to punch out Thea in the face again. It's only a 7 to hit.
I just batted aside like it's nothing.
Krill, you're up.
Alright, same. I'm just gonna battle axe. That's it.
That's so unlucky.
Althea, right? It's just all night.
Oh man. Alright.
That's it.
There we go.
That hits.
So 5. I got a 1 on my damage roll.
Alright.
That's it for me.
Anacola.
Alright, she's going to try and high five it again.
Nice.
22 to hit.
22 hits.
Let's go. It like goes in, slaps his hand, and then 4 necrotic.
Nice. Sitting at 1 hit point.
That'll be her turn.
Trust.
I didn't want to.
After missing with the Sacred Flame, I'm going to get so annoyed that I will attempt to stab it with a dagger. I don't even think I have my dagger macro up. Here we go.
I just love
There we
17
go.
just hits.
I love the imagery of just like 4 people relentlessly stabbing at like 2 gloves and missing repeatedly.
Getting so annoyed. I'm just like, I'm gonna use my dagger.
Just casting spell after spell after it. It's like, fuck this. Stab it. All right.
I'm gonna pin it to the wall, and then look at Althea and stop touching things. And then turn around and grab the burlap sack off the guy's head.
He's like looking around. He's like, are they gone? Did we do it? And
Did
Trust, as
we?
that dagger stabs into the hand, it twitches a few more times and like tries to reach out towards you a little bit and then just goes still.
It's we.
It says, well,
Said we.
yes, of course. I distracted them with my very presence. So are you fools going to let me down or what?
I vote just leave him here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can be rather abrasive. It's been a very rough evening. He looks down.
On this.
I thought I had a stab wound there a minute ago.
Fine. I'll cut him down.
Oh,
There's another one if you'd like.
no,
Althea,
no, that won't be necessary.
Althea just kind of like that, like darn. Why'd you have to let him down?
You all are about to be rich. My family will pay handsomely for my return.
How old does this guy look?
About 40-ish.
Hmm.
Well, what's your name, sir?
My name is Clem Josso. I'm sure you've heard of the Josso family. We are well renowned. Very rich indeed.
Who?
Trust.
Do we know?
Make a history check for me. Trust could be Trust and Althea. You said you were from Baldur's Gate 2, right?
Yep.
Yep. You two can both make history checks.
And it's just like blank faced, like who the think you are somebody? Who?
Trust, you would recognize the Josso name as being one of the higher up patriarch families. With a 17, you've heard rumors that they weren't doing too hot lately, but nothing confirmed.
I'm gonna put my hand on the shoulder and with a toothy grin say, "Really wealthy? And how wealthy would you be speaking about?"
He puffs out his chest. My family coffers contain tens of millions of coins.
Oh,
Good.
perfect. Would you mind, in that case, for your safe return, you wouldn't mind giving us at least, 2,000 each because, we saved your life, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. My family will shower wealth upon you. You must simply escort me from this place and all the way back to my villa in the outer city, and then I will pay you handsomely. My family will see you rewarded so much.
Why don't we take a down payment right now? And
He looks
then...
at his body with literally just nothing but a loincloth on. He's like, do I look like I have any riches on me, you fool? You must escort me from this place at once. I demand it.
Can Anna do an insight, see if he's actually noble?
Absolutely.
Yeah, because he doesn't have like a patriarch coin or anything.
I'll assist you in that insight.
This man is lying his ass off. He's broke as a fucking joke.
Okay, yeah, she'll. Yeah, she'll just kind of walk over, bonk him on the head.
Oh!
We're going to get going. This man is a fool. And she's gonna just walk down this way.
But wait! The riches!
You
There
can
are
stay
no
here.
Will you at least tell me how to get out of here?
And then I'll
Look, let me tell you right now. We're here on a very specific mission. You just happen to be here.
I am more important than any mission you could possibly be on.
Sure. Well, if it's so important, then, you wouldn't want to be left alone, right? So I guess you just have to come with us and follow us behind us.
Of course. Everyone needs proper leadership. I will accompany you.
No,
Oh,
you will not.
Oh, wait. Oh, you want to be a leader? Well, in that case, good leaders lead from the front.
Yes, of course. I will need a weapon.
All right. I'll.
There's the two people that were here were both armed. One of them had a mace, the other one had a spear.
Oh,
Perfect.
Anna's gonna run up to the gloves. She's gonna pick up the gloves and offer him the 2 gauntlets.
No, give him an actual weapon. If he's actually gonna help us, then I'm totally down for that.
He looks at them.
Some armor for you. Of course it's necessary.
Looks like they've been crushed. This one still has a dagger in it.
You can use the dagger.
This one doesn't seem very stealthy. It's probably not a great idea. Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
mean-
I am stealth.
I mean, I'm not exactly the stealthy type anyways either, so I'll run over here and grab the mace and the shields off of this person. Maybe like some whatever armor I can muster. Be like, here, put this stuff on.
Oh yes. starts donning the chainmail and has the spear. I'm prepared for battle.
Trust is pulling his dagger out of the wall and rolling his eyes, and it's just like, whatever.
Right, well, if you're going to be a leader, then a good leader leads from the front. We have currently cleared certain portions, and our next area that we need to clear is that way. If you care to lead.
Yes, a leader I am. And I shall lead. And he just starts walking down the stairs.
I'll follow close behind because I know he's probably going to need saving. Oh, and by the way, I charge interest for every time I have to save you. But that shouldn't be an issue for
I
you, right?
assure you it shall be I who saves you. I shall make good on this debt that I owe you. I shall save all of your lives in short order. You shall see.
Surely.
Ah, I see. All right. I hope you keep that promise.
He walks up, and you see him about to reach for the door, and he's like, wait. You must be careful. And he slowly just pushes the door open.
Would not.
So, he goes forward, and he turns back and he says, some sort of passageway up here, but it is too dark to see. I'm going to take a look.
I'm like,
Creepy.
oh, well, I can help you with that. I'll cast light cantrip on the mace.
So, the room illuminates, and you see in front of you, at the end of that hallway, there's a partially collapsed room here. There's 3 wooden beams bracing the ceiling. Situated between the beams is a scorched wooden table with a human cadaver resting atop it. A frighteningly thin woman in a black robe is studying the corpse, her face largely hidden under a cowl. Around her feet creep a swarm of little tiny undead skeletal rats. As soon as the light goes on, she lifts her head up and turns towards you all. She kind of tilts her head to the side, reaches into the corpse, pulls out a gob of organs and intestines. And we're going to pick up here next week.